Hi! Welcome, everyone, to the conclusion of the Laura Owens family bankruptcies hearings, at least so far as what we've got. Tonight, we will be listening to part 3 of the 716. This is actually part 4 of the bankruptcies, since we did Laura Owens first. Sorry, having a little echo there. If you are new to the channel, we have a bunch of subjects in the playlist in the description of this video down here. If you don't know who Laura Owens is, somehow, she's a serial pregnancy scammer who's facing felony charges for perjury in that civil case. And due to that civil case, her parents basically blown all their money on her stupid horses because she doesn't work because she's an idiot, and her lawyer for the civil trial, and now she owes $200,000 to her victim, and she still has a criminal trial to deal with. So, should be pretty fun here. We will be doing a double header again. Lauren after this with Will Has Amnesia. So do me a favor, hit the like button if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you want to see more of this. And let's go. Hello, everyone. In case you did not see it, I did like a 10-minute live earlier this afternoon on Brian Kohlberger. The freak. Since he wants to withdraw his plea. Yeah, so go ahead and check that out for earlier in the day. Ah! There he is. Oh, my God. All right, let's get this party started. If you remember yesterday, basically they talked about how they were sending all their money to Laura, or the trustee was Jennifer Giammo was pointing that out to them, and how they hadn't written income on consistently within the forms that they filled out, because if you'll recall, they filed for Chapter 13 in 2025. That was rejected by the beginning of 2026 because they failed to make their payments and they would not disclose anything. And that's really what they want to do. They want to stay the foreclosure of their house without revealing any of the stuff that they need to be entitled to bankruptcy. And now they filed Chapter 11, but they're saying different things between their tax forms the first time they filed bankruptcy and now. And Jan keeps just doing word salad, thinking that this is all going to go away if she just talks long enough, which it definitely is not. So here we go.
Let me ask you something.
Part 3 of the meeting of the creditors. And it's got a little bit of yesterday's on there.
You keep talking about expenses and you say you understand what gross income means. Why didn't you disclose on Schedule I of your documents that was filed yesterday? You look at Schedule I, it requires for business income, and nobody told me LLC is a business, correct?
Is a what? I'm sorry, you broke up there.
Nobody told me LLC is your business. It's a business.
Correct.
Why didn't you report this $50 of income on item line 8A, which asks for net income from operating a business? Why didn't you do that?
That's
because
nothing.
It's so small.
Well, I'm sorry,
You know,
Miss Naylor, you don't get to decide where things go on the forms just because you think it's trivial. You need to fix this, and you need to properly report this on item 8A. And one of the things that you will see is that item 8A requires that you attach a statement for each business showing gross receipts, ordinary and necessary business expenses, and then the total monthly net income. So you need to do that, okay?
Okay.
All right.
It's just Jan's voice, her attitude of being like, God, this is like really serious. You guys are taking this you guys are taking this way too seriously. Also, we tried to withdraw this, but we also want to have our foreclosure stay extended.
And I also understand that you failed to pay the filing fee for the amendment that was just docketed yesterday. Can you explain why you didn't pay that fee?
We did pay the fee.
When did you pay it?
Oh. In your face, Jennifer Giammo. They paid the fee.
We paid it yesterday. We spoke to Raquel in the...
Okay. But you didn't...
We amended something yesterday and paid it. Paid $34. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about the fact that at docket 74, the court or the clerk issued a notice that you failed to pay the fee with respect to this amendment filed at docket 78.
Well, it has been paid.
Okay, well, you're saying it was paid yesterday. Well, okay, I'm just telling you, I'm looking at docket 74 from yesterday that said that the $34 fee was not paid, but now you're saying it was paid?
Jeez, can't even get the $34 payment correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, one of the things that you failed to include in your amendment was the summary of assets and liabilities. Can you explain to me why you didn't include that required document?
What did she miss? I didn't hear that. Sorry, I was reading the text.
Was the summary of assets and liabilities. Can you explain to me why you didn't include that required document?
These morons didn't include a summary of assets and liabilities. What do they think they're doing?
Again, an oversight. Again, I'm not. This is why I have filed to dismiss this
Oversight? That's a hell of an oversight.
because I'm not an attorney and I don't have the ability, to do this. I know a lot of attorneys don't even handle Chapter 11, and they handle 7 and 13, but they don't handle 11 because it is so complicated and it's clearly way above my pay grade.
Okay, well, you need to file that. So you need to amend Schedule I to move the income from nobody told me up to item 8A, and you need to file a summary of assets and liabilities. Okay?
Okay.
Also, I believe you were required to file a monthly operating report on June 21st for the last month, showing your income and expenses for the last month of May. But you
Say it again, Jen. Say that you were withdrawing, so you didn't think it was needed anymore. I think she gives that answer for a lot of the stuff.
didn't do that. Can you explain why?
Again, because we had filed for dismissal.
Oh, boom. Gotcha, Jan. You dumb bitch.
Well, that's because you're an idiot.
Sure, Jan.
I was thinking that this would be dismissed and that would not be required.
Okay. Let me ask you, I want to make sure that there aren't other accounts that you previously had that you haven't disclosed. Did you have a Wells Fargo account at some point in the last few years?
Yeah, I did. I had a checking account that I think it had under, I don't know, it was overdrawn last I heard.
Well,
shocker.
Did you close the account?
I believe Wells Fargo closed the account.
Okay, and when do you believe they did that?
Around the time of the Chapter 13 filing. I don't have the exact date.
But you never.
I believe that they were listed. I think they were listed as a creditor that I put them like $218 or something.
Okay, well, they might have been listed as a creditor, but you never listed the account as having been closed within 1 year prior to the bankruptcy. Why not?
And what Jan can't really tell here, I think, she can't pick up on, is like the $50 from the prior nobody told me is net income, right? And this $218 Wells Fargo checking account that was closed. Yeah, it might seem like ticky-tack, and I assume that probably most examinations like this with people that are transparent and honest would go, oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yep. And then they say, okay, just make sure and put that on there. Jennifer is grilling them because she's going to list every single thing that you have not disclosed, Jan, because she thinks you guys are full of shit. And this is going to go in a little packet up for bankruptcy fraud. So Brian is at it again. Yeah, Brian closed Jan's bank account now. Brian!
Well, again, because I didn't close it, I believe they did.
It doesn't matter.
And I don't know when.
It doesn't matter.
But I don't know.
You were required. Let me just tell you, you were required to disclose. Let's see, I can give you the exact wording. Within 1 year before the bankruptcy, were any financial accounts held in your name or for your benefit closed, sold, moved, or transferred. It doesn't say did you. It say were any accounts closed, and you did not disclose the Wells Fargo account. Correct?
Correct.
And this also helps establish a baseline. Hey, Jan, why don't you report that $50? Hey, Jan, why didn't you report that $218 account? And then saying, hey, there's nothing else, right? So that later they can't say with another account that maybe has $500 in it or $1,000. Oh, I didn't think it was big enough. Really? Because on the record, you were questioned about $50.
that's a false statement because there was an account that was closed in your name.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yes, yeah. Again, I never got any notification that they had closed it or anything like that, but whatever you say.
Then why did you list him as your creditor? And Jennifer said the same thing.
All right, so you paid between May of 2025 and May of 2026, you made $21,000 of payments to your daughter, Sarah, correct?
Uh-huh.
And yes, I need an actual answer, no noises.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so can you tell me what was the purpose of those payments?
Those payments were made, they were reimbursements to her. She is a co-signer on our mortgage, and she had advanced her own funds to keep our HELOC, our basic utilities, and our life insurance, and in some cases food costs paid because we were strapped for cash.
Okay.
And so once we had leased out the pony,
well, let me ask you. Can I ask you something? You paid $21,000 to your daughter. Why didn't you take that money and pay it over to the mortgage to prevent the foreclosure?
Because it wouldn't have done anything to prevent the foreclosure.
Well, it sounds like you're just accepting that there's going to be a foreclosure. Is that fair to say? Because you're not doing anything to try to fix it, but by paying it.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're not accepting that there's going to be a foreclosure. But as I say, it was clear from the statements that from the communication that we had received from the servicer that $20,000 was not going to be enough to prevent the foreclosure. So it wouldn't have done anything. And
you keep saying that, but if you add up all of these amounts, then maybe it would have done something. I mean, you decided to pay your daughter instead of the mortgage on your home that's now in foreclosure. I mean, that's what you did, right?
Yeah, it is what you did.
No,
Of course it's no. Of course it's no. No, you don't understand. If we sent them $21,000, they would still say we owed them more money and they were still going to foreclose. So why send it to them? Hence the purpose of bankruptcy trustees. That's why we had to pay the life insurance to Macy's card and her daughter.
A lifeline, and she was a co-signer on that, and she had made some HELOC payments, and that was to, help us with the mortgage as well. And she had advanced her own money, and as I say, that she had been.
I understand.
This doesn't make sense. I'm believing the theory that somebody said where this is money that Sarah is using to pay the attorney, because why? How does Sarah somehow pay the mortgage company $21,000 for her parents, but they can't send in $21,000 themselves, and they're $190,000 behind on their mortgages. Is the first one in a HELOC. It doesn't quite add up, right? If Sarah can pay out of her own money, why can't you guys?
I understand why you did it. I understand what you're saying. But the fact of the matter is you chose to pay over $20,000 to your daughter instead of paying that money over to the mortgagee on the home. You made that choice, correct?
Long pause.
We were.
I'm not asking. I need a yes or no answer. Is that the choice you made? It wasn't a choice that was hoisted upon you by someone else. You chose to pay your daughter instead of the mortgage directly, correct? You made that choice. I'm asking you, did you make that choice? Yes or no? No, it's a yes or no question, Miss Naylor. What did you or did you not make the decision to pay your daughter to reimburse her instead of pay the mortgage on your home?
I really don't remember because I've only heard this part twice, but I so want Jan to say again. They would not accept it because they said nothing would change, and we would still, and they would say, I want her to say that. Yes or no question, moron. Listen to Jennifer clicking away. She's pissed.
That wouldn't have paid the mortgage on.
I'm not asking that. God. I'm not asking that. I'm asking you chose, did you not, to pay your daughter to reimburse her over $20,000 of money instead of paying that money to the mortgage fee?
I mean, yeah, $190,000 behind in the mortgage. buy my place in cash 3 times a year with that money. I could buy half my place with that. And I'm not bragging. I'm just saying the area up here it's not that average anymore. But yeah, their mortgage is $14,000 a month. Ridiculous. You are well beyond your means. Sure, Jan.
Is that right? That's what you did.
Yeah. Exactly, Mom Spaghetti. Jan says that, but the documentation shows no payments have been made since sometime in 2025. So unless she's talking about a prior payment that Sarah made on their behalf, which again wouldn't make sense, because I don't know, unless it was something like, hey, can you pay this month and a half of mortgage for us? We're going to do this GoFundMe scam, and then we'll pay you out of that.
Admit that that's what you did, because I don't know how you deny that you made that choice, because that's what you did, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But again,
there you go.
I think this might be a different payment, but I'm not sure. Mom Spaghetti. Let's give it even the benefit of the doubt, though. It still doesn't work. Toots is the driving cat. Marcia. $5. Thank you very much.
I don't want to hear the explanation. I don't need an explanation. I just wanted you to acknowledge that that's what you did. All right. I don't think. There's a couple of questions, little questions, but I do think we're going to have you come in for a deposition, because I can't have you. You sent me a document that says accounting of GoFundMe funds, and you acknowledge that you sent that to me, right?
right.
And now you're claiming that you think it was supposed to be an accounting of how all of your money was expended over the 18-month period from January 1st of 2025 through June. Is that that's what you're saying that you intended the accounting to be?
My understanding was that the judge had talked about GoFundMe and that you had talked about GoFundMe as well, but you had brought up these other issues, and the judge did not clarify whether she only had wanted the GoFundMe information. So I wanted to be very transparent and to leave no questions unanswered.
Okay, but the bottom line is you provided me with a document that you titled Accounting of GoFundMe Funds, right?
Correct.
Okay. And I read that to mean that you were going to be, that what you provided me was an itemization of how you specifically used the $132,000 of GoFundMe monies that you received. That's how I interpreted it. Is that wrong that I interpreted it like that?
No.
Okay, so it does, what you provided me shows how you used the money, the $132,000 of GoFundMe funds, correct?
Oh, now we're back to this lie. Question. Toonsis says, question. Ron Owens, a famous guy in San Francisco. Can anyone collect? Yeah, he was apparently a very famous radio host in the San Francisco area. Just like you probably have your own local, like I've got MedVet up here. All these nationally syndicated. So I don't know if Ron Owens was nationally syndicated, but apparently he was a big deal.
No.
Okay, so it does. Okay. And I read that to mean that you were going to be, that what you provided me was an itemization of how you specifically used the $132,000 of GoFundMe monies that you received. That's how I interpreted it. Is that wrong that I interpreted it like that?
No.
Okay, so it does, what you provided me shows how you used the money, the $132,000 of GoFundMe funds, correct?
Correct.
And then if you look at it, you say that the total of GoFundMe funds was about $132,000, and you actually give me an itemization of expenditures totaling about $144,000, right? Is that correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So are you now telling me that you're admitting that what you gave me, the $144,000 of itemized expenditures, was what you claim the GoFundMe funds were used for? Is that what you're saying?
This is a simple answer, Jan.
There wasn't $144,000 coming into the GoFundMe.
No shit. That's why it doesn't make sense. So she's asking what this list is.
So that the $144,000 in expenditures had obviously included other money that had come into our account from pension and Social Security, and was not just GoFundMe.
Okay. So why did you give me an itemization of expenditures that totaled 144,000? Why didn't you give me an itemization of expenditures that totaled the amount of the GoFundMe funds?
I'm going to pause here a second, go face to face with y'all. This is in my line of work. This is probably one of the most frustrating experiences that I've had, not specifically with GoFundMe accounting, right? But me as an accountant, when I'm asking the other areas of the business managers, and it's usually a lot of the stuff I was working on was inventory plans for vendor rebates and all that kind of stuff. So it was saying, hey, we're projecting this year. So I was trying to get a percentage of the cost of goods that we were going to sell. Give me a breakdown of what you believe you're going to buy by vendor, because each vendor had different rates, and how much you expect to sell. Roughly, just you have a COGS number, break it out by the two biggest vendors. Even if you do it based on historicals, give me something. And then you get a list that ties to nothing. They're going to give you a list of, this is what our purchases are. Okay, well, why isn't that in the budget? Why doesn't that match the budget purchases? It ties to nothing. And then they're like, well, I don't know. This is what I got. I don't understand what you're asking for. I'm like, I'm asking for what? That number in the budget. How did you come up with that number in the budget? Break it down for me so that I can use it. No, I'm not even asking to itemize. I'm not asking to itemize. What I'm doing is very simple. They say they're going to buy, on average, $10 million worth of inventory a month. And we've got 50 vendors. What are you projecting to buy from each? Are you going to buy $5 million from your top vendor and then 2.5 from the second, and then, down from there? Because all these vendors have very different rates. If you buy, this vendor pays us 20% back end. This vendor pays us 5%. So it makes a very big difference in the outcome, right? Who are you planning to buy from? And it doesn't add up. And it not adding up is one thing, but the constant circular conversation of them saying, I don't understand what you're looking for. I'm like, I'm looking for this total. So, yeah. That's it. That's my rant.
I'm so sorry. Could you start it again? I accidentally hit a button that muted you on
Sure.
my phone.
I'm asking, why did you give me an itemization
No, I had all the rates, Tootses. I just needed to know what their plan was.
of expenditures that totaled $144,000 and not just give me an itemization of expenditures that corresponded to the total GoFundMe funds?
Because I wanted to be very transparent and show you everything that had come in and gone out.
Okay.
That's not transparent at all, because you had way more money coming in.
In that time period.
Okay.
Like I say, we're talking about more money than the GoFundMe received.
And I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to tell you something after having gone through your bank statements, okay?
The sad thing is, if I may please, said they probably understood. They just didn't want to give you the answer. No, these people that genuinely did not understand somehow. Because it was the underlings of the man. I'd be talking to the director, so you got to give me a breakdown of this number. And then the director would hand it down to the underlings, and the underlings wouldn't know what they were asking for. And then they'd get the thing from the underlings and give it to me. And I'm like, what is this? And they'd go, well, you got to talk to him. And I talk to the underling, and they'd be like, I don't understand. I didn't come up with that number.
The spending that you and Mr. Owens expended, the total disbursements out of all of your accounts for the time period from December 27th, 2024 through June 25th, 2026, the total disbursements is over $523,000. Did you know that?
Government intrusion.
That doesn't sound right for a year and a half.
That is,
doesn't sound-
well, you might not think it sounds right, but that's what all disbursements out of just account 0140 totaled over $523,000. Just out of that one account. So you were not trying to give me transparency of all disbursements, because you only told me about $144,000.
But we gave you every statement.
Right, but I'm talking about the accounting you gave me. So I'm trying to figure out what it was you were trying to give me with this accounting. You're claiming you weren't.
We were trying to give.
You're saying that
we were trying to give you this. the specific GoFundMe in and the GoFundMe out.
But
then why doesn't it total up to the GoFundMe in and out? God, Dan. Fletcher Boy, I'm late. Has Elizabeth A. Naylor, Jan Black, Owens won? No, she thinks she's winning, though. She thinks she's dragging this out. She thinks she's going to ride the clock out.
you gave me but now when I ask you about that, you're pointing out that the itemization of expenditures was $144,000 worth of expenditures, which is more than the $132,000 of GoFundMe funds. So I'm trying to figure out why you would provide me with a list of payments in excess of the GoFundMe funds if you were trying to just account for the GoFundMe funds. I'm trying to figure that out. I don't understand it.
I mean, just to show you if there was the commingling or whatever, that you could clearly see. Oh, this was GoFundMe. This came into 0349.
Did she just say just to show you that it was commingling? Mom Spaghetti says, per one of Jane's motions, she's demanding to be accepted into a mortgage modification program so they can refinance and lower their interest rate and payment, but they do not in any way qualify. Probably because of the amount they earn. Toon says, so she itemizes expenses and it doesn't match. Hear me out. As the accounting, are you seeing if these match in case of litigation? No. I was having nothing to do with litigation. Here's my problem. Side tangent, under 60 seconds. The budget for the year was created, and this budget has purchases in it, which is projecting a certain amount of vendor back-end revenue that was coming in. I was the person that had to calculate and collect the actual vendor revenue that we earned based on the merchandising department and the vendors purchase, or the merchandisers' activity. What would happen was the number that would go into the budget for purchases for an inventory plan that I was given did not match the actual purchases by vendor total that they were giving me to plug into my model. So what would happen is, in my already knowing this was going to happen, every month when we're at the end of the month and they're saying, well, why didn't we meet the target? I'm like, well, I don't know why you thought it was going to be that high, because the list I got was this much. And I plugged it into the model and it spit out this number. So when they give me that they're going to buy all this stuff and they don't do it, this is the gap. And that's why I needed a number to plug in. And then it didn't really matter anyway, because as soon as I would get accurate numbers, I'd plug it in, I'd give them the very accurate outcome of what that would be, and then they would just comp it up by 10% somehow when it's all contract based. How are you going to make more on the same amount of purchases? You didn't change the contracts. Anyway.
I mean, just to show you if there was the commingling or whatever, that you could clearly see. Oh, this was GoFundMe. This came into 0349. This then went to 0140, and then it went to pay X. That you could see what had gone out to pay that month.
Okay, well, I'm telling you that clearly you decided to just pick a selecting number, because in that time period that covers this accounting that you gave me, there were actually $523,000 of total disbursements from your account 0140. So you
have a year and a half.
Yeah, but that was the account that covered this accounting that you provided me.
Right, and then I listed $144,000 worth of items to be transparent for a quarter of our expenditures, or a third. I don't even remember what the total she said was.
Right, and so if you figure our pension and Social Security.
No. Wait, back up. I don't want to talk about the income. I'm just talking about the fact that you clearly weren't trying to give me a itemization of all of your expenditures in that time period, because it was well in excess of 140.
Jan, alert Jan. Listen to the question. Listen to the language of this question. This is not being built this is not being asked in a way to get your bankruptcy straightened out. It is built in a way to build the case against you for fraud. Oh God.
$4,000. So to the extent,
but
I understand that I understand, here's the thing, Mrs. Naylor or Mrs. Owens. If you were going to just try to itemize or correspond the GoFundMe funds and give me an itemization of how those monies were spent, you would have given me an itemization of expenditures that totaled the amount of GoFundMe funds, right? I mean, wouldn't that have been the logical thing to do?
Well, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
okay, but you didn't do that. You didn't do that. Instead, you gave me this random number of expenditures, $144,000, right? So it was like $12,000 more than what you needed to account for. And now when I asked you about it, you said, well, I wanted to show you all the expenditures during that entire period. But that can't be true because you had, in just one account, there were over $500,000 of disbursements. So I just want you to be clear about what we're talking about here. And I think what we're going to have to do is get you in for a deposition where I can put these documents in front of you, documents that you signed under oath. You know, we talked about, there were clear contradictions between what you said under oath in the Chapter 13 and what you filed on May 22nd in this case, and then what you filed yesterday. Clear contradictions where they just don't jive. And I know you're trying to say, well, I didn't understand that, but it was the same exact forms and you have totally different answers. So clearly without you sitting in front of me with those documents in front of you, I'm not going to be able to fully and properly examine you on these things. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to do a Rule 2004 exam. I will send that out and I'm going to ask for additional documentation from you about some of the things we talked about today. So I guess since you're on the line and we're going to conclude the 341, why don't you give me an idea? I mean, we have this hearing on, when is the hearing on this case?
My understanding was that the next hearing, the dismissal hearing on August the 6th.
August the 6th. Okay. That's right. So
you mentioned something on the 27th. And
I'm sorry, I was incorrect about that. Yeah, I was incorrect. Sorry. All right. So
okay.
It is now the 16th. Can you tell me what your availability is to come into my office face to face and do a deposition, like over the next few weeks?
Let me go and get my calendar. Can you hang on?
Actually, you know what? That's fine. I thought you might know it. Right. Why don't we do this? We will conclude this matter, and then you can send me an email and tell me precisely the dates that you're available, and we can go from there. And I'll set it. But I'll have to file my Rule 2004 request.
Okay.
All right. So I think that's it. I mean, there's no creditors on the line, so I am going to conclude this matter, and we will go off the record, and I will wait to hear from you by email about when we can set up.
Okay, so it sounds like it's wrapping up. It doesn't, because Jan continues to talk, and there's a lot of good nuggets after she thinks that, for some reason, Jan thinks that now everyone that's on the phone, all the smear campaign has been hung up on, and this is a private conversation somehow. It is a great encore. Jan's so stupid.
Your deposition, okay?
Okay, how long do those usually take? And what date would you like to have it done by?
I think it would be better to have it before the continued hearing. So if we can do it before August 6th, that would be best.
No, Joe Kate, we're not going to. There's not going to be a recording of it like this for the 2004 examination. Maybe there's some notes we get, but no video.
That's number one. Number two, the length of these often depends upon the cooperation of the witness and the witness being.
Sorry, I'll stop stepping on her in her stupid questions here.
Your deposition, okay?
Okay, how long do those usually take, and what date would you like to have it done by?
I think it would be better to have it before the continued hearing. So if we can do it before August 6th, that would be best. So that's number one. Number two, the length of these often depends upon the cooperation of the witness and the witness being candid and forthright. When witnesses try to be evasive and explain away things without answering straightforward questions, typically they are longer, sort of like this 341 meeting. So I'd like to, have you come in and then we can just kind of go through the documents. I'll have them right in front of you, and then we can try to get to the bottom of this. And, at some point, Ms. Naylor and Mr. Owens, you're going to have to acknowledge that there were false statements made. I know you want to try to explain away the false statements, but we know by looking at your various pleadings filed under oath, you can't deny that you previously made false statements under oath. I mean, is that fair to say that you have to admit that there were false statements under oath in your prior pleadings? Will you at least admit that?
Yeah, yes. I mean, as I say, a lot of this was a lack of understanding or what was actually being asked and what was necessary to file.
Okay.
Lack of understanding. That's it. It was just simple misunderstanding. William Phipps, 56, 26, 999. Thanks, bro. Thank you.
So, but the problem with that explanation is that you had an attorney assisting you in the Chapter 13, so that doesn't really work for the Chapter 13 omissions.
Yeah, but you understand, like, he bailed on us, and we get.
It was a very brief. Well.
Okay, so we'll just leave it at that, and I'll delve into that further at the deposition.
Yeah. Okay, so William Phillips says, "Sorry if I killed your boner." This is a Lauren reference when he said, "Thanks, bro," because Jamie called Lauren bro one time while they were having phone, and he's like, "Call me bro during the middle of phone." If you haven't tuned into the Lauren saga yet, I highly encourage you. We are going to be doing one right after this. He is the funniest content on the internet. Not me talking about him. He is the funny, and there is so much.
We will conclude this matter and go off the record. Okay, I'm off the record, and thank you very much. And I'll wait to hear from you so that we can schedule your exam.
Call me bro.
Okay, but just the one thing. I mean, should we plan on like an hour, 2 hours? What?
Oh,
hour, 2 hours, ma'am. This hearing was 3 hours, so I don't know what you're talking about, Jan. This hearing was 3 hours, almost like 2 hours and 50 minutes, 45 minutes. Oh, hour, 2 hours. Like there's just some like minor wrap up questions. Past perfect Pam, you just can't get into them. You just haven't heard enough.
I would set aside 8 hours because that's what I'm allowed to do.
8 hours?
Well, that's, like I said, Miss Naylor, it's all going to be dependent upon how you answer questions, right? If you take up a lot of time, pontificating and going off on tangents, then it's going to be long. If you want it, when I ask you a yes or no question and you answer it sincerely and just answer the questions as I ask them, then it'll go quicker. But
again, Jan, listen to the language she's using. Quicker. If you answer the questions honestly and you don't pontificate, it's going to keep getting quicker. Past perfect Pam, how much have you consumed? Like, give me a rough estimate on hours. And I'm not judging you. I'm just trying to get an idea. If you're telling me 100 hours, I might believe you.
I am entitled to examine you for up to 8 hours.
Okay. I think my phone may be about to die here.
All right. Well, we're off the record and we're concluding this matter. So I'll wait to hear from you for dates that you're available.
Yeah, 8 hours?
Understand one other thing, please. Some of the answers that I was also trying to give were to, appease.
This is a whopper, what she says here. It's kind of hard to hear her because it's quiet. Past perfect camp, 4 hours? No, that's... You're going to need to do a minimum of, I don't know. Those who have been converted, everyone tell us, like, if you resisted at first, tell us how many hours you got in, you think, before it clicked for Past Perfect Pam. And this is not piling on Past Perfect Pam. I'm not judging you or piling on you at all. I'm just trying to explain it does change. Okay. Listen to this hot take from Jan.
Other thing, please. Some of the answers.
The other thing, please. Some of the answers
that I was also trying to give were to, appease the crowd on the line. So that they-
some of the answers I was trying to provide were to appease the people on the line. Meaning you lied on purpose because of the people on the phone that are still on the phone, by the way, you moron. For the smear campaign. That isn't a smear campaign. It's just literally reporting what you guys do. And this is the dumbest thing to say on a record. Why would you confess this to the trustee? Even if that's the case, don't say it because it ruins your credibility. I will say something different to spin a narrative. One more time.
And one other thing, please. Some of the answers that I was also trying to give were to, appease the crowd on the line so that they would not be going further into.
Well, that shouldn't color. Your testimony should just be truthful and forthright, and you shouldn't be trying to change what you say or how you testify based on how people perceive it. So that's not really a good excuse for some of the evasiveness I saw here today.
That's not really a good excuse at all. Rob the Air Pro's right. This is so outrageous, Jan. A smear campaign is not an excuse to lie to the examiner. And plus, it didn't. Honestly, did any of her answers help? Did any of her answers for the smear campaign that's out there, right? Did anything she said with the alterations make the smear campaign think, oh, you know what? We've got Jan wrong. We've got her wrong. You know what? They are above board. So I want to know what the other answers you were going to give were, Jan. I am imagining that it's something along the lines of, look, we had to pay a bunch of the money out for our daughter's lawyers. Passport with Pam, 4 hours, it's not enough. I'm saying that honestly, it's not enough. I would do, people were saying 12 to 15 hours. Some people said the pornography is 62 hours. That's a huge commitment. Passport with Pam, I would say 10 to 12 hours. Hit the major streams. Hit the classics. Jeffrey, James, all that good. Or just listen to people saying that what their favorites are.
I think that one thing I do want to point out is that since you still have that GoFundMe up, you have to understand that while you're in this bankruptcy case, all of those funds become part of the bankruptcy estate. So you cannot, you really have to understand that once you filed this bankruptcy petition, you opened up yourself to the entire, mandate of the bankruptcy code and the procedures that you have to follow, right? You can't just file a bankruptcy to stop a foreclosure and then do whatever you want. So you have this GoFundMe. If you have funds coming in, those all need to be set aside, and you shouldn't be paying any creditors. You shouldn't be paying anything that is not a necessary living expense for just you and your husband. Do you understand? Great. Did you hear what I said, ma'am?
I did.
Okay. So I want you to be mindful, because if the case gets converted to Chapter 7, any funds that came in while this case was in Chapter 11 will have to be turned over to the Chapter 7 trustee. Okay?
But there are no funds.
I can't understand you. You sound like you're in a tunnel.
Wait, what do you mean? She's just speaking through a paper towel roll.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I can't really hear you. Nope.
It's like talking to Lauren on the phone. Come on. Well, the only thing we're missing is her banging the headset, Bluetooth headset on the ground. Hold on.
I'm sorry. All of the funds were gone a year and a half ago.
Well, I'm just talking. I'm talking about the fact that the GoFundMe page is still up, so you still might be getting. And I can see, just anybody in the public can see who's donating and when. So you know, if there's money that still comes in, I don't know if people are still donating. If they are, I'm just telling you that money that's coming in from that source, you need to make sure that every dollar.
Yeah, put your phone in the windowsill, Jan, just like Lauren, or put it outside. Put it in the closet.
That you have of income into your account needs to be accounted for, because you're.
Oh my God, I would die if I started hearing rubber bed noises.
Bankruptcy now. I just want you to be aware of that. Okay.
Right. So you're saying it might be smart to just close the GoFundMe and then not leave it up there?
I think that's for you to decide. I can't tell you what to do, but I'm a little confused as to why you still have it up when you said you said that it was to get yourself out of debt, so you didn't have to file bankruptcy, but yet you're in bankruptcy anyway. So it seems like it doesn't seem to align with what your stated purpose of the GoFundMe was, but that's for you to decide.
Yeah, Cracked Pepper MDLI has a good point. We're going to be doing a live stream after this with Lauren. Hang out in the live streams with us is what Cracked Pepper says. That's how I started. So I don't know. Maybe the next one it's not a disgusting one or anything. It's a short one, but
right. Okay, so what, just so that I know when we do the
Yeah, if he was doing dishes or wrapping stuff in trash.
the other hearing, what specific areas are you wanting to further explore?
Well, clearly, we need to sit down with the and look at the schedules you filed in the Chapter 13, the schedules you filed originally in this case, and then the schedules that were docketed yesterday. And we need to go through them. We're going to go through them line by line, and you're going to see, I want you to see the stark difference in the testimony under oath, because it's pretty apparent to me that you made false statements under oath. I mean, let's just assume, for the sake of argument, that the current amendment filed yesterday is the truth and nothing but the truth. Well, then your prior statements were clearly false. So that's number one. I need to go through those. And I need to go through the accounting with you because it just doesn't make sense. You know, you were ordered by the court to give me an accounting. It's not even like I asked for it. The court ordered this on the court's own decision. And yet you gave me something that I thought I could rely on. And then today you were kind of all over the place, not really admitting that what you gave me was a true accounting of how you expended the GoFundMe money. So I need to delve into that because I'm not sure what purpose that was that you gave me that document if I couldn't rely on it to constitute an accounting of how you spent the GoFundMe money.
Jennifer, the purpose was to provide you with the list, thinking that you were just an idiot that I could pull the wool over and say, hey, here's all the money. I didn't understand that you're not an idiot.
And clearly I can't because one of the items was the Macy's, and you're saying that, no, that was not part of how we used the GoFundMe money, but that's what your accounting says.
At some point, yeah, we'll do Jeremy DeWitt. It's just, it got a lot going. It's a lot of pots. Spinning plates.
Right. But and again, like I say, I was just trying to be able to say that, look, this money had gone out, and yeah.
Well, I don't know what you were doing.
I don't know what you were doing, Jan. You say, yeah, I just want to be explaining where the money went, but I don't know what you were doing because that's not what you did.
But it's clear that this lacks any reliability because you're not standing by what it is titled. You're calling it an accounting of GoFundMe funds, but now you're saying that's not what it is. So I don't, that's a little bit frustrating. So I guess what I would ask, and I will inform the court if this isn't done, I would ask that you fix this and give me a proper accounting of exactly how the $132,528.36 of GoFundMe funds was expended.
Okay. But again, just for my own information, I mean, please understand, I'm not trying to be contrary or anything like that. But since this was spent long before we filed the Chapter 13 and long before we filed the Chapter 11.
Yeah, Jan, this is your same tired argument you asked the judge. I don't understand. Like, Jan's stupid point here is, I don't understand. We got the GoFundMe money before, we filed, and the money was gone by the time we filed. So I really don't understand why it matters at all. First, the judge did an order saying you have to provide an accounting. Second, even if you convince Jennifer that it's not needed, the judge ordered it. You idiot. How many times are you going to ask this, Jan?
I don't understand why the GoFundMe, is pertinent at this point.
Okay, I understand that you don't understand. I don't know what to tell you about that. It is. I just don't know what to tell you about that. I mean, it's relevant. One of the things that actually concerns me is that you misappropriated GoFundMe funds and misled donors, and that opens yourself up to potential claims. So we have to know whether or not the creditor class, whether you've properly identified all potential creditors. Because in what sense? I mean, again, please, understand. I'm really not trying to be confrontational here. I really don't. I understand you don't understand, but I think
I understand that you don't.
Maybe for a minute, just think about this. If you look at the posting on the GoFundMe, there's a suggestion that there are funds needed for medical expenses and because you're having financial troubles. And I think that it would be fair to assume, most reasonable people would assume that funds would then be used for paying bills that are necessary for your day-to-day living, paying for food, utilities, phone, groceries, medical things. I don't think it's reasonable to assume that donors would know or expect that GoFundMe money is being used to pay Macy's credit card bills. I don't think so. And I don't think it's reasonable for people who give money through GoFundMe to think that their money is being used to fund life insurance or ADT home security systems. I think that that is something I need to explore because, like I said, there's a potential claim out there, and we need to see the extent to which your schedules are accurate in terms of disclosing all potential claimants against you and Mr. Owens. That's just one.
But again, with regard to, like I say, the ADT thing, we have had death threats against us.
Well, that doesn't sound like that comes from the medical issues. It sounds like that might relate to what you call your smear campaign, and that's fine. You might feel like that's necessary, but my point, Ms. Naylor, is that I don't think it's reasonable to put out a call on GoFundMe that talks about your husband's medical ailments and then use that for home security system. That doesn't seem to be the kind of necessity. I mean, you said yourself in the accounting you gave me, you said itemized list of necessities. That's what you referred to it as. And I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that Macy's is a necessity, that life insurance is a necessity, that ADT home is a necessity. I mean, it goes beyond what I think is reasonable.
Well, the ADT thing also, with regard to the medical alert, there is sweetie, please don't stand up. Please.
See, that's why I feel like Ron doesn't have any agency anymore. Honey, please don't stand up. Ron can't even stand up on his own. He's not allowed to stand. And she's actually with the ADT because they get a life alert.
Okay, I understand that you're trying to explain it, but it doesn't make sense to me. So,
Jan, stop. Stop, Jan. You're not going to convince Jennifer. I understand you're trying to explain it to me, but it doesn't make any sense, is what she's saying.
You're not addressing the Macy's or the life insurance. So the bottom line is that the judge wanted you to give me an accounting of the GoFundMe funds. She ordered it. So I feel that based on the court's order for that document, it is my obligation as a trial attorney for the U.S. trustee to fully examine the accounting. And that's what I was trying to do.
Ron was making a run for it. I'm just thinking about, he thinks, oh, she's really engaged with Jennifer here. Ron is trying to run out of the house in his bathrobe. She's like, don't stand up.
But I was stopped because I was not able to fully examine it with you.
Okay, Lauren's butthole recliner. I understand that. I wasn't actually making the joke of he's a fault. I'm saying the way she shouts, there's never any care. If they really cared, they wouldn't put all the stress in his life with this bullshit legal stuff. Because
you're basically denying what it is that you provided to me was an actual itemization of how you used the GoFundMe money. So we're going to have to get to the bottom of that in a setting where I can put in front of you your own documents, and then you could say, well, you're saying that, I don't see it. Well, we won't have that problem if you're in here and I'm putting papers in front of you. So, I mean, that's the best I can offer you in terms of an explanation as to why the GoFundMe is relevant. Yes. I mean, clearly the judge thought it was relevant. So if I were you, I would not question it anymore because the judge thought it was relevant enough to order that you provide me an accounting. Okay? Okay, Ms. Naylor? I'm not hearing anything in response. Okay. I'm assuming that you hung up.
I think your phone died.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's it. Then I'm going to hang up. Thank you all for joining us.
Right. All right. There we have the end of that dumpster fire. Thank you everyone for being here. Hopefully my voice isn't weirding out right now. But we will be moving on to the Lauren stream. I think this is probably, it's Monday. Probably won't be streaming again until maybe Thursday at the earliest. Maybe Friday. But yeah, keep a lookout. Thank you for being here. Remember to hit the like button. And as soon as there's anything new with Laura, like a new case, if it's interesting, it's got to be funny. It's got to be interesting. I know I say I'm a completionist, but that's only for the stuff where like I'm really doing a deep dive on the person. And so I don't mind skipping past some stuff when I'm not doing a completionist like others out there do a much better job. With Laura, maybe. All right, so here we go. You should be redirected, but in case you're not, let me go ahead and grab the link, and I will put it in the description or the chat right now. 1 second, please. But with that said, YouTube thinks that you will enjoy the video that's shown on the screen here. So go ahead and press the like button or click on it. Check it out. All right. Bye.